tonight, Pats Nation. You guys already know who it is. It's Patriots Global back here with another video. And as always, with my buddy Rob from the House Call Sports, back at it again on a very late night here to break this one down for you guys. We're going to try to keep this one pretty quick, pretty simple for you guys. I know that a lot of people probably aren't going to necessarily even tune into this one because everybody is probably tired. Everybody's at work. Everybody has school or work tomorrow, but you guys are more than welcome to wake up and watch this post-game stream. Just got off of Bleacher Report, and I'm very, very excited to hear what Rob has to say about this game. He was going off a little bit before we started the stream, and I'm even more excited to hear the rest of what Rob has to say because the New England Patriots are not a 2-win team anymore because they just beat a playoff team, a wild card team, but still a playoff team somehow, but are now a 3-win team for the New England Patriots. And later on, we will, get into what this means for their, draft stock and what this means. Where do they currently rank at this point? Unless, Rob, you want to do that first. But let's welcome on in Rob, buddy. How are you feeling after the Patriots win this one? Are you happy? You mad? You excited? Are you neutral?
I'm neutral, but we can't even fucking tank right. It's so stupid. And let's be honest with ourselves. That's not a playoff team we played against. Listen, I think you never can tell me that I've never seen Mitchell Trubisky and Mac Jones in the same room together. So I'm just saying, I could have sworn if you close your eyes and you just squint really, really tightly, you could tell that maybe Mac Jones was throwing the ball for the Steelers tonight. Zappe went full Joe Montana on the Steelers tonight. Number 6 ranked defense in the NFL. It's nothing really. I don't know. He decided to be a quarterback, and I never thought he was a terrible quarterback. I didn't expect this offensive explosion to even happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did. And morally, are the Pittsburgh Steelers a playoff team? Dear God, no. But somehow they are still a wild card, and somehow they are still in the playoffs. So
the most fraudulent playoff or wild card team there is. And you know what? If there's something we can hang our hat on, we own the fucking Steelers.
That's exactly what I said in my watch party. I was like, you know what? Say what you want about the Patriots.
We're at our worst.
We own the Pittsburgh
We're
Steelers.
We're literally at our worst right now, and you can call us daddy. I don't want to hear it. Just look at the rosters.
Yeah, I mean, they might not be a playoff team in a short couple of weeks here. I believe they lost to, who was it? I think they lost to the Cardinals last week, and now
they lost to back-to-back 2-10 teams.
2 bottom 3 teams in the National Football League. You lose back-to-back. Again, like you said, the most fraudulent air quote playoff team in the National Football League.
Tomlin's job needs to be put in question. You first of all keep in Matt Canada as long as he did, and then just some of the decision making during this game, just how he still is employed as a head coach. I get it; he's got such a great winning record, but nothing else to show for it. You're in the dance every time, but what are you doing? Are you just you're not going and dating the hot girl? You just kind of you're suffering with whoever you can get on the sidelines.
Yeah, bro. I feel like you look at it, right? And the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers are very similar teams. Two good coaches, I guess you could say questionable coaches in some capacity, but 2 elite defenses and 2 very, very bad offenses. The only difference that is separating these teams is that I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are coaching better than the Patriots. I don't want to say by a wide margin, but they're definitely coaching better than the Patriots, and they have significantly
could have fooled me tonight, man. Could have fooled me tonight. We definitely outcoached them.
Significantly less offensive turnovers, though. That's why one is a playoff team and one is a bottom 3 team. But let's break this down because the Patriots offense, let's start with them, came out with an absolute magic show in what none of us expected. I expected us to be competitive in this game, and I thought that would be a surprise, but I didn't think that we were going to be in a position where 1.5 quarters through, we're like, are we about to blow out the Pittsburgh Steelers right now? Offensively, is this a thing? The New England Patriots, it was what? Let me pull this up. Going into halftime, it was 21-10. Yeah, it was 21-10 going into halftime. And with how the offense was performing in the first half, you were thinking, oh, dear God, we quite literally could put up 30, 40 points on a top 10 defense. What in God's name is going on? And, Rob, let's start with the offensive opening there. 3 minutes. It took
3 minutes and 48
3
seconds.
minutes to punch the ball down.
Yeah, 8 plays, 75 yards. It doesn't make any sort of sense to me how it just looked like an NFL offense. I just was like, okay, where are the screens? Where are this? No, in just like the throws that Zappe was making. I haven't seen throws like that since probably the Eagles game. And that might be a stretch. You might have to go back to last year's game to see some of those throws that he made. Does not make any sort of sense to me that we 8 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes and 48 seconds. And by the way, the first touchdown drive to open a game this season. So like that, we're just breaking records. Why don't we just do all types of shit to knock ourselves out of the damn tankathon?
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought just from top to bottom, my like just immediate thought about all of this was every single offensive addition or offensive piece that we got during the offseason or had question marks about showcase themselves between this week and last week. Devontae Parker, we're saying, get out of here. He's not a piece, was the leading target for Bailey Zappe last week. If he keeps his foot in bounds on that big perimeter play late in the game last week against the Chargers, Devontae Parker goes for over 100 yards. This week, he's inactive. Juju Smith-Schuster, your number one receiver, finishes with the most receiving yards in today's game. Eclipses almost his first 100-yard receiving game as a Patriot, finishes with 90 total yards, and was everything that was advertised to us this offseason. And he showed up today.
That 37-yard freaking catch he got to begin the game. That's what we've been advertised to. That's something that we wanted to see. That's something that we've been wanting to just get from him this whole time. I don't know if it was a Steelers revenge game for him. I don't know what it is. And we're down. Parker didn't play this game, right? You had Tyquan Thornton. You had no Demario Douglas. You had Tyquan Thornton and essentially Juju Smith-Schuster and Hunter Henry. That was our offense. And this is number 6 ranked defense. No slouch of a defense. And we just honestly, like, if we had any semblance of an offense, and I don't mean like, I get it, we looked like an offense to start the game, but if we had weapons, this game would have been really bad for the Steelers. They got some real, like, looking in the mirror and identifying what their real problems is, because at least there's some glimmer of hope on the horizon. I don't know what is going on over there.
Yeah. If this is just kind of a sneak peek at what's to come, then I think Juju Smith-Schuster is worth that 3-year contract. Unfortunately, the last thing you want is to finish this season with question marks still up in the air about Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster. Get those guys involved. See what they have. And my biggest thing is that, you know what? Everything we heard, Rob, coming out of this locker room, coming out about this team with Mac Jones as the quarterback when we started going downhill, it seems like it was all true. We were hearing players don't want to play for Mac. They don't believe in Mac.
I agree, man.
We even went, Rob, we even went as far as to say there was a Patriots receiver who we don't know, obviously, but went as far as to say that he prefers Bailey Zappe throwing him the ball over Mac Jones. And you know what? The offense around the quarterback position over now 2 weeks, and this was a short week, have looked like they are willing to play for their quarterback and are actually going out there and performing and have a mindset of actually wanting to be there and actually making plays.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm going to be honest with you. After that Sauce Gardner incident, I think that that was a tipping point for a lot of these Patriots players. It's not his first time getting involved in some kind of dirty play, and that just rubs everybody the wrong way. People don't want to go and question his character. I'll be the one to do it. I don't care. Go call him, put the hater bubble above my head. Look, there are rumors that 80% of locker room doesn't want him around. I mean, look at how the offense just had life today. And if this should be any indication, maybe they overlooked us. That's always another thing. But if this is any indication moving forward that for next year, I mean, even if it's just this one game that we win for the rest of the season, at least we know that in some way, shape, or form, this offense, if we could just get the pieces, can really work. because the defense, man, other than a couple blown plays here and there, this defense is really freaking good, and they're missing pieces.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I go back to it and you wonder, and I don't want to play that game, but you do wonder if the
I'll
Patriots,
play that game.
if
If
you didn't
Zappe
Bailey
start,
Zappe before,
if Zappe starts this season, we're possibly a playoff team.
and it's just the offense started so well. But I feel like Mac Jones, that internal clock got screwed up even more. Like
I
you said,
don't
that
care.
stuff with Sauce
I
Gardner,
don't care. I don't care.
all these different very true factors. Maybe you should have put Bailey Zappe in the game sooner. Maybe you should have given him the week sooner. And the last thing you want is for Bailey Zappe to have his internal clock screwed up or his confidence messed up like Mac Jones. But you know what? It's like Bailey Zappe's out there with confidence. He's growing his confidence. He's looking good. He's out there. He knows he's the shit, dude. He knows, and he's playing like it. And it's translating on field.
Brother, the QB position is the hardest position in all of football. You already have pressure right away. If you cannot handle pressure, I said this a couple weeks ago. Say we have Mac in the Super Bowl and he can't handle pressure now. The pressure is going to be at a monumental level in the Super Bowl. I don't want a quarterback that's just weak-minded. So just because you get benched, that should be fuel to the fire. And you know what? Zappe has had his fair share of turmoil. He was cut. So I don't want to hear about how, we ruined this guy. We ruined Zappe, did we not? And he came into this game as if nothing happened. I don't want to hear it because this guy was basically tossed to the curb. Nobody wanted him. Came back this week, and look what happened. I don't want to hear it. If we're going to hold Mac to the same standard of being crippled or whatever it may be by our coaching staff, the same shit happened to Zappe, and look how he responded as opposed to how Mac responds.
Yeah, if you're a quarterback, you have to have a short memory, and the problem is that Mac Jones doesn't. And I've always been there to give my truth about Mac Jones. I'm not a Mac Jones hater. I've been called a Mac Jones apologist, which is also not true. But I just say it how I see it. And it's true. The Patriots did screw over Mac Jones. But at the end of the day, Mac Jones not having a short memory is on Mac Jones. He's let the game affect him emotionally too much. And at the quarterback position, when you need a team to rally around you, when you need to be confident, you need to be a leader, you just can't have that. And Bailey Zappe is confident. Bailey Zappe has a short memory, and he can come back and use it as motivation when he needs to have a good play. But big donation here from my man Red Sox. Big time supporter with a $5 donation. First donation of today's chat. So big shout out to you, brother. You said, don't forget Pittsburgh got beat up defensively, especially at linebacker. They are beat up to a degree, but at the same time, the Patriots offense is really the worst in the National Football League, no matter how banged up you are. And you know what? The Patriots defense is even more banged up than the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They still have Minka. They still have TJ Watt. Guess what? We don't have Christian Gonzalez. We don't have Matthew Judon, and we are still balling out. So there's no excuse.
There's no excuses. That is a 6th-ranked defense, and we were averaging 4.3 points per game in the last 3 games. There's no excuse as to why we haven't. You don't put up 21 points like that. It doesn't just happen. So, and especially against that defense, there's just a different type of energy in the building. And look, I hate to say this, I'm the person that wants to get that number 2 pick, but the Chiefs are not. They're not unbeatable anymore either. Look at how they played. They've lost what? They won 2, and they won 2 of their last 5 games. So they're very beatable next week. So we may have the same conversation next week about how we beat the Chiefs. Look, I'm not saying we are going to, but like, if this offense can play like this, and with just look, man, his ability to. If there's one thing he does better than Mac, besides having a better arm, one thing we could definitely say he does better than Mac. His pocket awareness is insane. Like, there was I forget what play it was. There was a guy, it might have been Highsmith, that came around and almost got him. He stepped up into the pocket and made the throw. I was like, wow. Like, those little things that people don't notice that he did. I was like, that's it. I'm not saying he's a starting quarterback, but what he did today is, he at least solidified in my mind he's a backup. our backup of the future.
I still think, and again, massive shout out to Red Sox for that big donation. Let's also remember that Landon Roberts, their linebacker, because everybody's trying to say that like their linebackers suck. Landon Roberts is a good linebacker who is actually the #1 graded linebacker against the run in the entire National Football League. So let's definitely give him his dues where it is deserved. But what I'll say is I do think that Mac Jones, accuracy-wise, just in general as a throwing quarterback, is still more talented than Bailey Zappe. But again, at this point, you look at the other factors that are more important than a good arm. You look at that confidence. You look at the ability to have a short memory. You look at his ability in the pocket, which his ability in the pocket is 100 times better than Mac Jones, which is why we are where we are. Mac Jones' internal clock, it's messed up. It's screwed up.
Right.
Why is that? It's because of Bill Belichick, and that is something to talk about. But because the Patriots O-line is bad and inconsistent, they need a quarterback with a short memory, but they need a quarterback who can step up into the pocket, who despite pressure coming can step up, be confident, deliver throws, can maneuver, has excellent pocket awareness, and can extend plays without throwing off his back foot and throwing into triple coverage. And that's what Bailey Zappe has been able to do for the Patriots through 2 games, and which is why they are finding more offensive success.
I really don't want to hear the excuses for Mac Jones anymore. Right now, currently, no matter how anybody, all the Mac Jones apologists needs to listen to this. He is not the better quarterback of the two. You cannot tell me any other way. Bailey Zappe is the better quarterback. There's no other way around it. You're in a league that's what have you done for me lately? I don't give a shit what you did the rookie year. That I can go on a list of why you won those games, by the way, but I'm not going to do that. I'll be out here talking on a tangent, even where I am already. Right now, Bailey Zappe is a better quarterback. There's too many things that are wavering in his favor that make him look. I have never once seen him throw off his damn back foot. That's a plus. And he barely, like, what was that? That pass to Juju. I mean, that was just a good play by it was a linebacker or cornerback that tipped the ball up.
It was Minkah Fitzpatrick that tipped that ball on that interception, and then he was picked off by the linebacker.
It could have been a better ball, but I don't really put that on Zach.
There's worse throws to talk about in this game than that one.
Yeah, he was really trying to throw it to where like only the wide receiver can get to it, but that was really just a great play by Minkah, which, by the way, is really a fucking incredible player.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's worse throws that you can talk about with with Zappe in this game. When you were talking, I think I almost drowned, so I had to go on mute for a second. But there are worse throws you can talk about in this game, right? There was at one point in the second half where he threw a ball to Juju and was completely covered when it was on a 3rd down too, but he had Hunter Henry wide open for the 1st down. And I'm not sure if he meant to go to Hunter Henry, but the ball was just way too high. And so it looked like he was going to Juju, or if he really meant to go to Juju, but either way, bad pass. And then there was also a ball in the second half where it was almost intercepted by the defender. It was like going to the ground. He doesn't secure it. It hits the ground. He doesn't get it. Another very, very bad pass that like you just can't throw that ball. Those are bad passes if you want to talk about. Obviously, early in the game too, he had some passes behind some of his players. Tyquan was one of them. But,
But there's way more good passes than bad passes. If we've had so many games this season that we had way more bad passes than good passes. So this is a breath of fresh air.
PG about to get hate by that troll on Twitter. Yeah. There's this dude on Twitter basically that I posted about like my video that I just dropped about Caleb Williams and Drake May and their scouting report. And this one dude reposted me on Twitter, got so just like furious. He helped me get a lot of views he only had like 800 followers, but helped me get a lot of views on that link. So I guess like, thank you. But basically was like clowning me, be like, who is this dude? Who is this Patriots Globals and all of this different crap?
I don't know. One of the biggest YouTube Patriots pages out there. Okay.
Basically got mad that I called out Caleb Williams kind of like question marks.
Brother, look, I have my opinion about somebody. You have your opinion about somebody. That's what it is. It's an opinion. There's no facts behind it. They haven't played an NFL fucking down. There are so many quarterbacks that are in the 5th, 6th, 7th round that will sometimes outperform a first rounder. There's nobody. The damn draft is a crapshoot. Anybody that says that there's some kind of Mrs. Cleo and they're guessing how the quarterback's going to pan out, it's a crapshoot.
Real quick, just for the dude that is saying that Mac Jones super fan and that we're knocking Bailey Zappe right now. Nobody's knocking Bailey Zappe, and you must be new to the stream, so you should probably go back and rewind and watch the rest of it where we literally
just praised Zappe.
Bailey
I don't know
the entire time. We're just talking about we're talking about the facts. Where there's good, there's also bad. You do like we literally said you cannot get on Bailey Zappe for that interception. And then we said there were other throws that you could say were bad throws, and we went through those. It's called analyzing a player. At the end of the day, we both agreed that right now Bailey Zappe is the better quarterback. Now, did the team screw up Mac Jones? Sure, but at the end of the day, right now, Mac Jones
screwed up Zappe too. We screwed up Zappe too. But how did he respond?
For me, it's just a little bit different in terms of how bad they screwed him over. Because, yeah, they screwed over the confidence of Bailey Zappe, but Bailey Zappe never had his internal clock messed up. I think that's the one difference that has to be talked about.
Because he steps up into the pocket and he actually knows how to avoid the rush. That's on Mac. I don't want to hear it. Because the same way that the pocket collapsed tonight, Zappe stepped up when you needed to. Mac would sit there like a statue. That's his problem, not mine. Learn how to avoid the rush.
Look, I agree, but I also will say at the same time too is that they are different quarterbacks. Like you knew that one was going to be more of a mobile quarterback than the other, and the truth is that if the offensive line played as bad or continues to play as bad with Zappe as it did Mac Jones, it's only a matter of time before Zappe's internal clock gets screwed over too.
Who says that? Who says that? There's no guarantee with that. Because
it's give and take, but it's give and take. Like you saying his internal clock won't be messed up is just as much of a take of me saying, well, it will be messed up. But I feel like that's kind of just history. You look at it, and any quarterback that's getting sped up, because even times last week, there were points where as soon as Zappe snapped the ball, he's getting pressured. At one point or another, he's going to end up having that internal clock getting screwed up because he's going to expect that pressure is going to be in his face immediately. So he's going to start rushing passes. So that's and I'm not saying it's going to be as bad as Mac Jones. I'm just saying that his internal clock, to a degree, very well could get messed up if they don't give him that pass protection.
Well, we probably won't be able to find that out because we only got about 4 more weeks, and the NFL draft's right there. Nobody thinks that Bailey Zappe is the starting quarterback of the future for the Patriots. I think me and Global can fully agree on that we have our backup of the future. He's a guy that will win you some games, but he will not get you to the game. So
after today's game, here's what I said on Bleacher about Bailey Zappe. I said, here's a couple of things that you could do with Bailey Zappe, right? Number one, Bailey Zappe is your bridge quarterback, right? Bailey Zappe is a guy that you draft Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and you say, you know what? Zappe did good enough to where he can start a couple of games for us to start 2024. Zappe can start the first half of the season next year until we're ready for our.
Not only that, man, you just saved a shitload of money. I thought about maybe bringing in a Jacoby Brissett. We talked about this. Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew. You saved millions of dollars now because you can go and stick with Zappe.
Yeah, I agree with you. And excuse me, at the end of the day, either you have a guy who, and we'll see how he can perform the rest of the season. It's been 2 weeks, and this was a short week. We'll see how he can continue to play. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if he can continue to play like this, the Patriots have a guy who knows the system and can be that bridge quarterback for that rookie quarterback. Zappe's not a guy you're building around. Zappe's not a guy for next year. He's not your future. You knew that when you released him and no other teams tried to claim him and you put him on the practice squad and the active roster. He had a terrible preseason and offseason in general. We knew that. But at the end of the day, you're not expecting him to be your starter. You're expecting that either you have a bridge quarterback, an elite backup quarterback, or Zappe looks great and you try to flip him for like a 4th round pick.
I was just going to say that. Like, if at worst you think that he's not none of the above, his value skyrockets. Or at least maybe you get it like a 4th round pick. You flip it for another 4th.
All right, this is the last thing I'm going to say just to this comment, just because I feel like I'm a broken record. Zappe dealt with all the same things and kept his composure and played decent. Yeah, he did. But again, please understand that he's played 2 weeks so far. And I'm not saying he's going to get as bad as Mac Jones, but I'm saying Mac Jones has actually played every single game. Well, not every single game, but the majority of every single game last year with this O-line, has played every single game so far this season. Your internal clock doesn't get messed up in 2 games. And if you think that it does, you don't know football and you can leave. I'm not saying it's going to get as messed up as Mac Jones. I'm not saying that Bailey Zappe is a overall worse quarterback than Mac Jones, because at this point, Mac Jones is so screwed up because of the Patriots, by the way, that yes, Zappe is the better quarterback. But if Zappe plays as many games as Mac Jones does with a terrible O-line, could the same thing happen, at least to a degree? Yes, it's possible. And if you say otherwise, then you're just riding what you saw from Bailey Zappe in 2 short weeks. But anyway, let's continue on here with the offense. Zeke Elliott stepped up in the absence of Ramondre Stevenson today and put up 140 all-purpose yards today. He didn't necessarily look too consistent on the ground in the second half, but at the same time, I don't put that on Zeke Elliott at all. I put that on very, very white and black play calling, very predictable, very dry play calling in the second half. That was more than predictable to me. So it was definitely more than predictable to the Steelers defense.
Yeah, we went from, I feel like we just kind of like, we got the lead and then we just kind of took our foot off the gas pedal. It looked like a whole different kind of, it looked like we were trying to tank. I'm going to be honest with you. All of a sudden, like, we started just, I'm not going to say that, like, we started to intentionally, like, lose the game, but just the play calling became very vanilla. I was like, what happened? Did you run out of all the plays? You used up all your good plays in one drive? I don't know. I liked what I saw from Zeke. He's really, I don't think he'll come back, but he's making it more and more like I want to bring him back, though, because I feel like just how he's developed as a leader and just the positive mentality. Like, I love when he does the eating thing, man. I love him, man. Like, hopefully we can bring him back next year.
Yeah, I remember during Thanksgiving, he supposedly went with like his teammates and the Mac Jones quarterback change and, went out with all his teammates and like had dinner with them and did all these different things to try to build this chemistry. Like, that's the type of guy you want in the building. I don't think he comes back either because respectfully, they finally gave him these touches and the ability after Ramondre went down, and they're only going to draft another running back in the draft. And we know that. How far down the depth chart will he get pushed? Because if I'm Zeke, I'm not coming back to get another 9 touches a game. But he looked excellent today overall. I would say not as he had some really good runs, some powerful runs, especially when it wasn't predictable, aka the first half of football. But as a receiving back, second for this team in receiving yards today. I think he also led the team in targets. Just an excellent, excellent game by Zeke overall today, who really was the Patriots offense. And it makes you feel like, you know what, despite Ramondre being out, which does suck, we do still have an elite veteran quarterback behind us that can continue to carry the load and get the job done still. So you should feel more than confident in Zeke Elliott going forward.
Yeah, I like I said, man, I love everything about him. I think he's gonna go latch on to somewhere else. I mean, this is gonna be a rebuild, and I don't know if a player like him that possibly maybe wants a ring now, because it seems like he's kind of gotten to that point where I feel like we rehabilitated his career in some sense. So I think that I could see him being a Chief. I could see him being maybe a Charger because Austin Eckler and maybe he's starting to slow down over there. He's going to go somewhere where he could possibly win a Super Bowl. Right now, we're kind of in the influx of maybe the next 3 years. Maybe we're not going to be close to a playoff spot. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's kick it off here, though, to Hunter Henry, who was another big player who showed out today. 2 touchdowns. Obviously, one of the big turnover. Who was it? I'm trying to think who got that interception. Was it Jabril Peppers who got that interception?
Yeah.
It was Jabril Peppers who got that interception, got the Patriots offense on a field and just gets it to Hunter Henry yet again, punching it in for 7, 2 touchdowns today. Hunter Henry is a guy that quite literally you probably at this point don't utilize much until you get to the red zone. But once you get to the red zone, give him the ball. How many times have we seen this? The entire 2021 season where he had 6 games straight with a touchdown. How about early on in the season when to start the season, he had 3 straight games with a touchdown, 4 straight games with a touchdown.
I don't think
utilizing.
I don't think I don't think we're utilizing him right. I still think he's a very good tight end. Look at there's no coincidence that like the ball's going his way and now he's starting to play right. I just I'm not saying bring him back, but like he's still a damn good tight end, man. Like some of the catches he made, that one where he made into the end zone, that was also a really good ball by Bailey Zappi too. But that
Yeah,
one, that catch was fucking insane.
it was a beautiful pass by Bailey.
How many times have you seen this guy? Not that catch, but how many times have you seen this guy make clutch plays for us, or not even just clutch plays, where he was literally one hand some of the throws that are thrown his way. The guy is a damn good tight end. I would not be against bringing him back, but I don't know if he wants to be stuck in a rebuild. So.
Yeah, I think he played very, very well. 2 touchdowns for obviously his 29th birthday. He gets a little bit injured, but clearly didn't look serious. Came back, end of the game, looked pretty fine. A guy that I really wish that they continued to utilize, especially in those like 3rd down, gotta have it, or 4th and short situations. Gave him more looks, gave him more contested looks, and I think that you can look at this game. You can even look at the last several games where he's been open and they just don't get him the ball. So I definitely agree with you that they're just not really utilizing him right. Or, I don't know if the quarterback's not seeing him or if they're clearly just not using him quick enough there in the rotation. Like if he's your 4th, 5th receiver in the rotation, there's clearly a problem. I think, especially with these injuries, he should be like your 2nd or 3rd option in that rotation. And it's just obvious that he's not until they reach the red zone.
And then you look at the opposite side of the spectrum, Mike Gesicki, and it's like, why are you fucking here? Like, I just don't. He doesn't do shit for this team. He's just a name at this point. And we may also be utilizing him wrong, but I don't. This guy never does anything.
No, he hasn't all season long. And he's a guy that I think they like to use in the red zone. But if you're going to just utilize Hunter Henry in the red zone, then what was the point in bringing in Mike Gesicki? I say this all offseason long when they sign him, and I'm going to continue to say it. They should be utilizing him, especially when Devontae Parker is not on the field, as your big perimeter X receiver who can catch passes, 50-50 catches between 2-3 defenders. And why they're not doing so, why they utilize him just as a blocker, like I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But he'll probably be another guy just like Jonnu who will leave this team, go somewhere this offseason, and then just like ball out as a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, but then you look at Pharaoh Brown, and I think he had 1 catch today, and he just bulldozes.
He's stiff-arming guys. Like,
Bro,
why are you not utilizing him?
Why this guy doesn't get more fucking play time? I feel like every time he touches the football, he takes like 3 defenders with him. Like, if you guys go look on my page, I actually pinned a new one. It's got like a little couch, whatever. I made like a little update to how I'm gonna make my off-season moves. He's still on my to bring back 3 years, $10 million. I feel like that's a pretty justifiable contract. Bring him back.
Gesicki or Henry?
No, Pharaoh Brown.
Or Pharaoh Brown, rather. Got you. Okay.
Well, that's one guy. Now I thought Henry was washed, but apparently he's just not being utilized.
Yeah, I agree. I did see a comment here. I believe it was Paul who said this, who said, the Pittsburgh just sucks. New England didn't score in the second half, which is why I think, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but let's end talking about the offense with what we saw in the second half, because during my live watch party, I was screaming. I was screaming at the screen, watching this team play and saying, why are you running the ball every single attempt, or giving a shovel pass to Zeke, or a check down to Zeke, or a screen to Zeke? Nothing on Zeke, but you saw what you were able to do when you opened up the offense in the first half. The problem is that Belichick played this game exactly how he wants to win games all season long, with an elite defense, with an offense that gets out early, puts points up first, and then can come out into the second half and just run the ball and play good defense. Belichick doesn't care. Belichick didn't care that they were only winning by 3 points late in the fourth quarter. He said, I'm going to continue to do the same thing. I'm going to run down the clock as much as I possibly can, and then I will pass the ball again and get more aggressive when this team is losing. And it doesn't make sense. This team isn't good, right? We know this team's not good this year. They've made more errors than they've shown us good football play. So because their margin for error is so small, You widen that margin of error by being aggressive, by constantly trying to put up touchdowns, by trying to put up as much points as humanly possible and not getting comfortable. Because this game came down to the wire. That final play that ended up being a fumble and the Patriots recovered, if that is a catch, they could go ahead and kick that field goal and tie the game.
We got away with Zappe crossing the line of scrimmage. Like, that was definitely on us. That was not on the center. Yeah, I don't get that. You saw how pumped the damn Steelers players were. Look, we got away with a lot of shit. We like you said, man. Like, it looks like we were just like, okay, we had a lead and we were just trying to keep it. Or like I just said earlier, did we run out of the plays that we kind of schemed up this week? Why not keep going back to them? Fuck it. Like, it worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Excuse me. Yeah, no,
if you're playing to win, because obviously I didn't want to win this game, but if you're playing to win, blow the doors off them. Like, really rub it in them, because I fucking hate the Steelers. So why not rub it in their face? No, you gave them, their fans and everything in the Steelers organization, an opportunity to be like, hey, listen, we almost got you. We almost got you, but it is what it is, man. Like, there's no way. It felt like we ran out of all the damn plays that we could have possibly ran.
Yeah, man. And you said it, right? Like, it was 10-21 going into halftime. And you were like, wow, like I said earlier, the Patriots could really put up 30, 40 points here. And they come out, they finish the game. Guess what? With the same amount of points that they had going into halftime. And it's just like, how did you play excellent football? Like, top 10 offensive football in the NFL in the first half. And then you come out in the second half and say, just kidding, guys, we're back to how we played against the Chargers. And it's like, well, why did you flip the switch? Again, it really comes down to coaching, because they played so conservative, because Belichick played how Belichick wanted to play. And it almost cost us the game, because you can't play that type of game. This is an offensive league. This is a pass first league. You have to put up points on the board in order to win games. You can't rely on your defense to constantly win you games. And I'm sure you heard Belichick, I believe it was last week, who, despite the offense putting up 0 points, tried to say, yeah, well, the defense, they just didn't give the offense a short field to work with. And it's like, how are you going to talk about the defense who held the Chargers top 10 offense, which, yeah, they actually were ranked in the top 10, believe it or not, held them to what, less than 10 points, and yet we're still going to blame the defense?
This defense this year, look, man, I will say this right now. This is a top 5 defense. Nobody could tell me differently. We've held, I get it. We had the Giants one time, and that's really not somebody. We kind of held them to their average, but you held the Chargers in check. You held the Colts, which at the time were averaging 25 to 30 points per game, top 10 offense to 10 points. And then what? We pretty much held the Steelers in check until the latter portion of the game. This defense is very, very freaking good. I don't know, man. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, that's why I'm thinking that maybe that this is not a good thing, keeping him around. And I'm one of the people that has said to keep him around. And I know you said last week, like, you were talking about bringing someone else in. I'm starting to lean towards that now, man, because if his ideology and his ideals of how he views things, that like the defense is to blame as to why we're not winning these fucking games, that's stupid. Our offense is dog shit. We just happen to, I don't know. We scored 0 freaking points. I don't care if it's raining or not. I don't even think we crossed the 50 last week. It's bad. It's bad. Like, this is bad football. So if he's thinking that this is okay, you can't play games like it's 1938 with the leather skin freaking helmets on, going against the Chicago Cardinals when this type of numbers was adequate. You're now going in a league where you need to average 24 to 30 points a game to win a game. And this shit ain't cutting no more.
Exactly. Belichick's always been known for, like, when teams zigs, he zags, but like, he's just trying to get too creative and
Bro,
too methodical.
He's just being way too cute. You do not have a top 10 quarterback anymore. You can't, like, the margin for error is significantly more minuscule as comparative to how it was in years prior. Brady was the ultimate eraser, man. Like, that guy rarely made mistakes. If anybody was going to make a mistake, they were going to make a mistake before we were, because of how just like precise and just methodical he was.
Yeah, man. It really comes down to, yeah, the Patriots won today. Yeah, Belichick is the greatest or most successful coach of all time, however you want to word it. But at the end of the day, this is 2000 and almost 24, and it's a very different league, and I'm just not sure if he's adapted with it. And we've talked about this so many times, so I'm not going to sit here and talk about it for like another 20 minutes. But the fact that I think he's happy with how today's game went should be a concern, because they almost lost and they came out into the second half and almost shot themselves in the foot and let themselves lose a game that they very, very clearly should have won going into halftime. So let's just get on to the defense here at this point, unless you have anything else you want to talk about offensively. Actually, one more thing I will say about the offense too, and this reverts back to something that I said earlier, is just that it seems like all the deficiencies and questions amongst this receiving core that we've had since Zappe has walked in as the starting quarterback, it just seems like they're doing the exact opposite. Like they're, Tyquan Thornton can't catch. Well, now Tyquan Thornton had like a crazy catch day where the ball was in front of him and he totally just extends and makes the catch. And it's just like, well, dear God, where is that for a guy who had a pass thrown to him in practice and just let it bob off of his hand against the air? Like,
It could also be how the ball's thrown, man. We'll see. Look, man, we're gonna find out a lot about our team in the next 4 weeks. And we both know Mac is not good. So if somehow we unlock some things with this offense that we knew that we didn't know we had, then we have to really start to figure out, okay, what was really the problem? And that just opens up another fucking can of worms that just makes this that much more big. Also, it can make it where, okay, if he thinks that this offense can't perform, he may not make upgrades.
Yeah.
That's not good.
By the way, just to throw a couple more stats at you, Juju Smith-Schuster, 4 receptions, 90 yards today. Zeke Elliott, 7 receptions, 72 yards today. He put up another 68 yards on the ground. Zappe today was 19 for 28 for 240 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, averaging 12.6 yards a throw, and put up a rating of 115.2. Just a stellar game here by some of the offensive weapons.
He balled out, man. We had a good game, but we'll see what happens.
It's the coaching staff, man, right? It's just like the offensive coaching staff just continues to be what's in question and continues to lose us games. I really don't think it's as much personnel as it is coaching. Whether you want to blame Belichick, whether you want to blame Bill O'Brien, whether you want to blame no quarterback coach, a bad wide receiver coach. Sorry, Troy Brown, but you're not good. Say what you want. I think the coaching staff offensively needs to be just as revamped as the personnel is going to need to be. But
I think Troy Brown is a little bit outdated, man. Like, no offense to Troy Brown. I get we got to stop like this whole thing that like we bring back old players and we just have such just affection for these old things. And like I have had fans that are like, oh, let's bring back Kendrick Bourne. I'm like, you know what? You're talking with your heart and not your head. He's coming off an ACL injury. But what I mean is like Troy Brown, yeah, he was nice in 2001, but his ideals and how he may view things may still be in 2001.
Yeah, exactly. He's not developing receivers. They're not running routes well. Like there's nothing else to say about it. But defensively here, before we get into these statistics, J.C. Jackson looks like he's going to have an interception on that opening drive there for the Steelers offensively. Ultimately gets called back because of a holding call. That unfortunately wasn't the only holding call for J.C. Jackson in this game. Also gave up an interception. Not another great game here for J.C. Jackson.
He's not good against like those really shifty, elusive wide receivers. He also doesn't really do good against tight ends. If you give you got to give him like a George Pickens. I feel like he does a lot better against those type of guys. He's not a cornerback 1 anymore, man. I think we both established this a long time ago, but he will do well if he's considered a cornerback 2.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit in question. And I said this on my stream earlier, and somebody was like, bro, what do you mean? Like, we still have Gonzo. We still have John Jones and Marcus Jones. Like, we're fine at cornerback next year. And I said, I think cornerback's still a bigger question mark and a bigger need this offseason than a lot of people are going to realize. Gonzo, you still don't necessarily know what he's going to be. The outlook looked great, but he only played, like 4 games. Still got to see more play from him to really confidently say what he is. Plus, coming off a season-ending injury also in his rookie year. Who is it? Marcus Jones has dealt with issues being healthy. He's also coming off with a season-ending injury too. John Jones, a massive contract next year, and he hasn't necessarily played the most consistent football this year also, and he's more of a slot guy than you want a guy playing outside. You would love if J.C. Jackson could be that second perimeter cornerback for you, because I don't think J.C. Jackson's a number 1 cornerback. He's not in his prime. He had that season-ending injury, and he's never come back the same. Maybe he'd look better as a number 2. But you shouldn't confidently say that J.C. Jackson will be your number 2 cornerback next year, or will even be on this team next year. Because like you said, he has some issues with these more elusive, shifty receivers. But you know what he also has issues with? Fast receivers.
Yeah.
He cannot match up well with those fast guys.
He does struggle with those. And we don't even have Jack Jones anymore. So, I think cornerback is definitely a need. I don't think it's like an immediate need. I think tight end, I think running back, I think wide receiver, I think quarterback. Those are more important needs. Offensive tackle, wow, I'm stupid. Obviously offensive tackle, but those are more immediate needs. I think that cornerback for depth, just because of we don't know how healthy our team's going to be at cornerback. But if Belichick's still around, man, well, I think we'll still be good at cornerback. But yeah, like you said, man, Gonzo looked great in the first 4. He looked like I would go as far as saying he looked like the best cornerback in football. He guarded Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown. You can go ahead and name the damn wide receivers. But thank God it's not a leg injury. It was a shoulder injury. I forget what the damn injury was. He's gonna be fine. But who knows how long he can get injured again. Knock on wood. But cornerback's definitely a need.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of touched upon the J.C. Jackson play already. I think he kind of is what he is. Keep in mind too, yeah, he knows the system, but he also came in mid-season. Well, not mid-season, but in the middle of the season. So that's also a little tough. Let's see what they can do during the offseason. I would like to see them give him a chance during the offseason, in training camp, in OTAs and mini camp, and see what they can do there before cutting ties. But I'm not confident and solidified in him being back next year. But run defense, oh my gosh, Anthony Jennings, he is my defensive player of the game. Holy Lord.
How many tackles for loss did this guy have? How many I only put down 2, but he may have had more. This is what we expected from this kid coming out of college. We're because he was supposed to be a stud, and now we're finally seeing it. He's in a contract year, isn't he?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, he's a guy that will definitely have opportunities outside of the Patriots.
I'd rather bring him back and let Uche walk.
Oh, I much rather bring back Anthony Jennings at this point than Uche. It's just to what contract? Because Anthony Jennings, he's gotten a bigger role because of us not having much pass rushers. Uche is a one-dimensional pin your ears back pass rusher. No Matthew Judon, who's your best overall edge rusher. So Jennings has gotten the opportunity to have more snaps and has had time to develop because of it. And I think he's actually looked really good because of it, but he's still not a guy that I want as a main pass rusher of mine. I still think that he's a situational guy, but he finished today 4 total tackles and 3 tackles for loss.
Yeah, man, I feel like he's just going to keep trending up. I just feel like I just have this gut feeling he's going to keep trending up. So I say, yeah, I guess this might be a bold take. But I would pick him over Uche, and I bring him back.
Yeah, and Jennings is going to cost significantly less too, so I completely agree with you. But tackles for loss today, even outside of Anthony Jennings, who just every single week when there's a play and a ball carrier stopped out or behind the line of scrimmage, just flip a coin, and it's either Anthony Jennings or any other Patriots.
Miles Bryant.
Yeah, Miles Bryant played pretty good. I mean,
tackle for loss.
Jalen Mills had another good one too.
And Jabril Peppers, I feel like, honestly, bro, he is our best defender this whole season. He's just incredible. I forgive him for him saying we ass. I forgive him.
Yeah, you know what? He's not wrong too.
He
So
ain't wrong.
he's not wrong. So you know what? I feel like if you were upset about it, then you're just not facing reality. But
Yeah, we ass.
Jalen Mills, tackle for loss. Miles Bryant, tackle for loss. Mac Wilson had a pretty good game again today, tackle for the loss. And Anthony Jennings, like I said, with 3. And actually, never mind. JC Jackson didn't have a tackle for loss. I take that back.
Yeah, but Miles Bryant also had a pretty crucial pass breakup that was like, bro, I forget who he was guarding when he just like poked it out. It might have been Pickens.
I'm telling you, man, Miles Bryant, he's going to have some inconsistencies, but with the ability to develop the way he has had this year because of injuries, like I'm confident with him being a number 3 cornerback or safety next year. Like
I feel, bro, I'm telling you, put him at he's really starting to pull up my heartstrings a little bit because I couldn't stand him when he was getting burnt so much. But if you put him at safety where he could just use his brain and be that ball hawk, I think he'll do great. I think he'll do great.
Yeah, I agree. Mitchell Trubisky on the day, though, not very good. I mean, he was getting boos pretty much as soon as he stepped onto that field. But 22 for 35, passed for 190 yards, averaging 8.6 yards per average, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and put up an overall rating of 74.7.
It was garbage stats, man. I think at one point, like going into like the fourth quarter, he had like 96 yards. He sucks. I'm telling you, like I could have closed my eyes and I thought I saw Mac Jones throwing a damn football. He gave us every opportunity to blow the damn doors off them. But then again, we also gave them every opportunity to come back into the game. So
you know how bad their offense was today and just how locked down New England's defense was when he, again, puts up 190 yards passing, most of which, like you said, were in garbage time. But Mitchell Trubisky also led that team in rushing yards today with 30 rushing yards. That should tell you. He was averaging 3.8 yards on average, which is also the best on the team in terms of rushing. 8 attempts. Najee Harris, 12 total attempts, 29 total yards. He was averaging 2.4 yards per carry. And Jaylen Warren, who, I'm sorry, but Najee Harris should not be the starting running back in Pittsburgh anymore. Jaylen Warren is one of the most underrated backs in the National Football League. Over the last few weeks, with him actually being given the ball more consistently, he's been one of the most dynamic and prolific and upcoming running backs in the National Football League. He gets 7 total attempts today, 11 yards. New England was able to hold him to 1.6 yards. And let me tell you, that 1-2 punch, that dynamic duo, and that change of pace back between Najee and Warren is very underrated in the NFL. Najee, who's kind of that big, push you over type of guy, and then Warren, who is that, smaller, more fast and elusive running back off the line of scrimmage. It's hard to stop them, but New England held, again, Najee 2.4 yards on average and Warren 1.6 today.
Yeah, but looking at that damn Steelers team, they've got a lot of problems. You look at George Pickens, who seemingly has a terrible issues. I think they were down 14 points last game, and Deontay Johnson's dancing in the end zone. What else? Like when Najee Harris was interviewed to talk about Mitchell Trubisky, he basically gave like a nonchalant, like I don't give a fuck kind of answer. So I could have told you before this game that I thought we were going to win this game just because like that is such a you would think that we kind of swap places. I would expect that attitude out of a 2-10 team, not a team that's literally on the brink of making the playoffs. But I will say this, man. I have not seen this team play like they're dejected. Today, you couldn't have told me this team was 2-10. One thing I do have to say, I don't know if you noticed, is Zappe taking play calls from the sideline? Because he's looking over at the sideline for like the plays.
That's a good question.
And I've heard reports about this. If that's so, that's some college shit. Like where they hold up cards and like with like fucking Oprah Winfrey or whoever may be on it. That's alarming. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It worked.
You know what? If it's better than what Mac was producing, then you know what? It's working. Like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't care how bad I look. Just give me something.
But if you close your eyes today and you'd had to identify which team was 2-10, and I'm not going based off like, okay, what the score was. I mean, just based off body language. That team for the Steelers looked like they were 2-10.
George Pickens doesn't want to be there. Did you see that one play, that run blocking play that he had? And he was just essentially standing there holding, I forget who he was going up against.
Thank God we didn't draft George Pickens. He is such a fucking that guy is such a cancer.
He's going to be out of Pittsburgh at some point this offseason. He so clearly does not like being there and does not want to be there.
It's not, bro. Like, but they're not. It's not like they're like bottom feeding. They're at least like they're right there on the brink of the playoffs. There was games I heard about this guy. Like he didn't get it. They were winning by like 20, and he's complaining about touches. Like that's the guy that's terrible.
Yeah, he's a diva. So he's going to be out. And
they got a couple divas over there, though. That makes me happy, though. I like seeing the damn Steelers implode.
But let's touch upon their receiving cast here. Deontay Johnson was the leading receiver. A lot of those stats, like you said, even coming in garbage time, they started to target him a little bit more later. 7 targets, 3 receptions, 57 total yards, 19 yards on average, and 1 touchdown. He was the leading receiver. The next guy was Jaylen Warren, the running back out of the backfield who killed the Patriots at times, but again, fast, elusive guy that just gets up the field very easily. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 29 yards, and he was second in receiving yards again, by the way. 7.3 yards on average, long reception of 12 yards. Robinson did get in the mix a little bit. Allen Robinson, only 1 reception, though, for 21 yards. And like you said, George Pickens, he was targeted a lot today. He was targeted 6 times, 5 receptions, but was only able to put up 19 yards, which is a 3.5 yards on average.
He didn't look like he was fighting for any of those yards. There was a couple catches that he just like immediately gave up.
Yeah, I thought Pat Freiermuth had some really good moments today. I just thought that it was some bad passes by Mitchell Trubisky and some really missed opportunities there.
Bro, why does this guy take the home run play every single day? Like he's the definition of hero ball. Like the guy just keeps chucking it up.
Yeah, I mean, 7 targets, which is second or was tied for first rather with Deontay Johnson for the team, but only 3 receptions for 18 yards. Not a great day for Pat Freiermuth, but I don't put that on him at all.
Yeah, when your quarterback is playing like that, man, he sucks. I thought like he's awful quarterback. Jeez.
But all right, guys, we kind of, is there anything else you wanted to touch upon defensively?
Nah, man, like I really was impressed with our defense. I really do. Even the score doesn't indicate like how well they really played.
No, not at all.
Especially when you get like a punt block that gets to them put like close to the damn goal line. So
again, that just goes back to what we said even earlier about the coaching and Belichick. It's just like, dude, you realize that like, and again, this is all hypothetical, but you got lucky that they went for it rather than kicking a chip shot field goal, because then the game's tied up. Then it's a very different game, right? And again, it's all hypothetical, as it always is, but let's just talk in theory that they go for the 3 points, then they block that kick. It gives them a short field, and now it's a tied game versus the Patriots winning by 3 in the 4th quarter. Like, that's why you continue to take shots in the end zone. That's why you continue to put up points, is because any miracle play, and they got 2 miracle plays, let alone 1. They got 2 miracle plays, which really switched up this game in the second half and made this a close game. And that's why you don't get comfortable. But now that we talked about the game, last thing we're going to do here is we are going to look at the current, share the screen here, draft position for the Patriots. So this is updated, by the way. So Rob, you're more than welcome to obviously reference this, but you already know exactly where it is because you posted it on your Instagram.
Yeah, so I had a mini heart attack because I didn't know that the strength of schedule fluctuates. I thought it would stay at a certain number and it stays there. We're actually still at number 2. Thank the Lord. But here's my biggest issue. We still have the Jets. We still have the Broncos. Those are still 2 winnable games. And no matter how you split it, we still have the Bills. And the Chiefs. Fuck, the Chiefs haven't played good. So there's winnable games still left on the schedule. And like the Jets only have 4 wins, man. Like that scares me because we might they are worse than we are.
Oh yeah, especially with their quarterbacks going in and out and who's starting and who's not, and they're basically back to being the Jets, at least for the rest of this season. So,
but Zach Wilson's back, so we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, did they screw him up? Does he even want to play after they took him out and were screwed even worse when they took him out? We'll see. But like you said, only a few games left. Kansas City, they're not playing great football.
Hey man, that's a winnable game. That
you win, but it is a winnable game.
That is a very winnable game. I would not be. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would not be surprised if we win that game.
And I hope we do, just to shut up Kansas City Chiefs fans. But I know a lot of people don't want to win that game, but that's a game that I'm still going to give
take that back.
It's definitely winnable. I'm sorry, buddy.
You better
and then
take
Denver,
that back. Don't put that bad juju in the air.
Denver, I do think that they do still win. Russ is cooking, and they're inconsistent. They're up and down, so you never know on any given day. But it's in Denver. They're still a playoff team, or at least in the hunt for a playoff spot. So
my stadium.
I think that they end up winning that game, especially in prime time. You never really know with those games. Buffalo, like you said, I think we'll split with Buffalo. As long as Buffalo can continue the road that they're on, I think they'll win, especially because we played against Ken Dorsey last time we played.
Well, they have to win that game. They have to win that game. They pretty much have to win out to even make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. So I think they'll be extra motivated. I don't know. We got one. I'm fine with that. So I think they win that game. And then against the Jets, you own the Jets. And Belichick is going to want to keep that.
You might as well chalk that up as a W right now.
Yeah, so I think that's a win. But looking at the Patriots' current draft status, like we mentioned, if you were upset in terms of like, oh my gosh, like they have the second overall pick, now they're going to win this game and drop to like the 10th. That's not going to happen. Now, the Patriots do hold the second overall pick, but the Cardinals still have to play, and they play against the 49ers. So they're going to lose that game, and they're going to lose it pretty roughly. So I think after that, they'll rise to the second overall.
I will also add this caveat that I don't think they're taking quarterback. So even if they do wind up jumping us, I still think we have a shot at Drake May or Caleb Williams. I honestly think Caleb Williams is going number 1 overall.
He should.
But we have a shot at a quarterback. Nonetheless.
Yeah. I think the Patriots had like going into this game a 9% chance or a 3% chance to get the first overall pick. I'm sorry, but
there's 0 chance now.
Yeah, it wasn't realistic before. I still don't think it is. I think they'll finish somewhere in the top 3.
What's the strength of schedule percentage for the Panthers right now? It should say at the very end.
So yeah, it says right here 0.25.
You mean 5.2?
I'm sorry. 0.525. Excuse me.
And what's ours?
Mini Sigi there. Ours is 0.524, and then the Cardinals is 0.558.
Actually, if the Panthers win 2 games, we actually leapfrog them. If it stays, the strength of schedule stays the way it is now. But
and actually, because the Cardinals, like I said, is 0.558. The Washington Commanders is actually the same as ours at 0.524.
So whoever has the lowest is that's how the percentages are. That's how you would get the higher pick.
Yeah. Well, I don't see us. Well, actually, you look at Chicago's. Chicago's is 0.471. So
but Chicago already has the number 1 pick. So like,
could you imagine they get the first and second? That'd be crazy. I mean, that's not realistic, but I'm just saying imagine because that's just a fun thing to think about.
It's very possible.
But even if well, the Patriots already won, but let's say that the Cardinals win. If the Cardinals win, then they're in the rank of 4 wins. So now they're kind of tied here with Washington and Chicago and the Jets, the Giants and Tennessee. If they lose, then guess what? The Patriots and Arizona are still 1 game away. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens with Arizona. New England is still going to have a top 3 pick. They're 1 game away. Again, I really think that the last win that the Patriots are going to get is going to come down to the Jets. And I could be wrong, but I do still think that. So if you're a Patriots fan, you want to see Washington, Chicago, the Jets, the Giants, and Tennessee all win games so that margin of win for the Patriots, because if they win another one, then where do they drop here in the top 10 is a question mark. You want those teams to win so that even if New England wins 1 or 2 more, they're guaranteed to have a top 3 pick.
I also will say this: don't be surprised if one of the teams that are in like the 5 to 7 range leapfrog us because they're trading.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's going to be trades. It's bound to happen. It wouldn't surprise me if Chicago really wants to build around Justin Fields, and if they want to do so, then maybe they trade down.
They got the assets, man, and they still have a top 10 pick nonetheless, so it wouldn't hurt.
at the end of the day, if New England finishes with a top 3 pick, first, second, or third, guess what? You should be happy, okay? You should be happy whether it's 1, 2, or 3, because they're going to get a generational blue chip player between Drake May, Caleb Williams, or Marvin Harrison Jr., as long as they don't trade down. And I do believe they finish with a top 3 pick.
Cannot see any other way. Gonna be honest with you. Unless that Jets win, I see the other guys winning at least one more game.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's pretty unrealistic to say that Washington, Chicago, the Jets, the Giants, Tennessee are all gonna lose
Finish with the same
game
wins
the rest of the season, right? And the Titans, yeah. I doubt that all of those teams are gonna lose every single game the rest of the season. So, you don't have to worry about the Patriots drastically falling down the chart here.
We would have to go on a run. And looking at the rest of the schedule, you got Chicago, you got not Chicago, you got Kansas City, you got the Buffalo Bills, you've got the Denver Broncos, and you got the Jets.
Exactly. So, like we said, I think a lot of people expected today's win to drop us significantly. Right now, we're staying where we are. I'm pretty sure we'll drop to 3 once the Cardinals end up losing. But guess what? We're back to where we originally were.
I will add one more caveat. Who did the Panthers select? They took Bryce Young, right? Who did the Texans select? CJ Stroud at number 2. Just saying. Number
it's
one
not all about having the first overall pick. The first overall pick just guarantees you're going to pay them more.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you get the better quarterback.
Exactly. So just hope that the Patriots finish somewhere within the top 3, which I think they will, like I said, because either way, they are getting a generational top 3 player as long as they don't trade down. So,
amen.
Rob, is there anything else you want to add here before we log off?
No, we kind of covered it. I feel like this was a good one.
Yeah, I think it was a good one too, guys. Well, as always, we appreciate you guys for watching. We will see you next Sunday. So the Patriots, keep in mind, they play the Kansas City Chiefs, but they have time to prepare. Was a primetime game. Now goes back to a 1:00 game. So we will see you guys after that game next Sunday. I'm going to say it's the 18th.
They should give us back to primetime status. We won a game.
Exactly. Since we won a game and it actually looked enjoyable, they should give it back, because you know what? The Kansas City Chiefs don't look like the team that's blowing anybody out.
They're scared. They're scared. They're scared to get blown out on TV.
But as always, guys, we appreciate you for watching. We will catch you guys next week. I will see you guys sooner than that. I will see you tomorrow with another video coming out. Make sure you guys check out my recent video about Drake May and Caleb Williams and their draft profile breakdowns. If you guys want to hear more about one of the potential next quarterbacks of this franchise, go ahead and check that out. But as always, we appreciate you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on your way out, guys. Really, really helps the channel if you just hit that thumbs button on the way out. But without further ado, we appreciate you guys so much. Never forget, go Pats.
Go Pats.